Hello and welcome to Gehenna Gaming. My name is Stephanie. I'm going to be your GM tonight for Witchburner. More about the game in just a minute, but let's meet our cast first. Ian, would you like to get us started?
Sure, I'm Ian Ravnos on the Gehenna Gaming Discord. I am one of the co founders and VP of Strategy at Gehenna Gaming, and tonight I am playing Robin.
Right. And Kristina, how about you go next?
Hey everyone, I'm Kristina, and I'm down in the chat as I'll be down in the chat. I don't remember my Twitch name for reasons. Uh, I'm a disaster, and I will be playing
Mood.
Mateo.
Big mood. We're all disasters here tonight. All right, Miellyn, why don't you go next?
Hi everybody, I'm Miellyn. I'm at MiellynB on Twitter. I'm playing Renny.
Right, and Hiromi.
Hi, I'm Hiromi. They, them. I am playing Gillin, the zealot of the water drinker, who is also they, them, which is great because my pronouns almost never match my characters.
Excellent. All right. And again, my name is Stephanie Allen, and I am one half of Charm Person Games, where you can find us at charmpersongames.com, professional game masters for hire based out of Baltimore. So just give us a shout out there. All right. And as I said, tonight we are playing Witchburner. This is our fourth episode. So you should know the story by now. We're hunting a witch in town. The party's chasing down clues, and they've got a bit of a time crunch on their tail. So last week, they've continued their investigation. Leah Takewood said she saw Anna Breakwater swim in the Whitewater, the river, late at night when it's too cold to go swimming. The party met with David Slingstrider, the town priest, and he said that Evan Redbasket could not possibly be the witch, despite having been implicated, because he spent too much blood, time, and toil in protecting the town of the Bridge of St. Cleareyes. Petra Inksblood, the town notary, has implicated Edward King's name, the former mayor, current mayor's father. She also goes out of her way to clear Stella Slingstrider's name, David's daughter, and his heir to the priesthood. Some people in the inn over here, Renny, and saying that Robin uses magic to manifest things in the world. Rodman then attempts to, say that Renny just likes to exaggerate. But then he also says that they probably aren't going to find a witch. Renny also suggests appeasing gods by framing a terrible person in town in order to, try and get rid of these. Gillin is interested in hearing out the plan to sacrifice someone as a witch. Mateo is harder to get onto this plan, I think. They went to visit Blaze Knockwood, the town uncle, meaning the town fool, and he told them stories of the spirit that rode him when he went out into the mountains. He doesn't call it as such, he simply calls it his ghost friend. But after a long conversation with that, he also tells them that he heard the bridge itself cry out when Nina Dukesket walked across it, the town midwife. Robin takes a trip out to Olga's apiary and finds a dead bear, fully fleshed, except for the skull, which is completely defleshed and is now housing bees making honey. Olga seeks his opinion on, the ability to sell bear skull honey. Robin takes a sample in a glass jar, as you might expect. The party also visited Edward King's name, who was cursed by a traitor who was hanged in the town some years ago and can barely speak and has no real use of his left hand. And he is clearly quite angry and desperately wants this witch dead. He wants the witch's skull to rest on his mantle next to the skull of the traitor that they hanged. And that evening, the party had dinner with Edna King's name, Edward's daughter and the current mayor, and she implicated Victoria Townsman as being someone with worrisome proclivities. And she also cleared Peppy the cook for the inn, who's been implicated several times, but has also attempted to prove his own innocence. All right.
And
so
who
now,
has sacrificed multiple body parts to do so.
yes, multiple body parts to the gods.
The 3 T's.
The 3 T's, yes. All right. It is now the morning of the 12th
Day 12.
morning. Yes. And it dawns cold and deeply wet and foggy. What are you guys up to today?
I would like to speak with Ella Slingstrider. And I think we had also discussed investigating the bridge and who might have been under it at the time sobbing was heard.
We've also yet to investigate Carl Foundling, Nina Dukesget, or Victoria Townsman.
Now, was it Ariel that was said to be swimming in the river?
Anya Breakwater.
Anya. Okay.
Yes.
I can't read my own handwriting. That's fabulous. Okay. Anya.
Yes. Ariel Bearbreaker is the butcher. She is the wife of Gregor Inksblood, and the daughter, or excuse me, the mother of Veronica, who's the little girl with the hand-shaped birthmark on her leg. And you did visit her recently as well. And Anya Breakwater is the wife of the, yeah, there we are, the woodcutter's wife. Her husband is the carpenter in town. She would be sister-in-law to the town drunk that you guys have met a few times at the bar, Jeremiah.
Well, do we want to split up?
We might have to in order to get things done quickly.
Yeah.
Yes. I'll go to Stella's with Robin.
I think we need...
Okay.
I think... I have... Gillin, you feel that this may be the work of a person who followed God of Winter, Famine.
The Winter White, yes.
And I feel like if anyone was perhaps disgruntled with some of the other religious followings in this town, it might be the person who died in them. So long.
It has an interior logic to it.
And I feel like we definitely want there to chat with her. But perhaps when it comes to some of the other folks, seeing the splitting up.
Okay, I'll go with Mateo then to investigate the bridge.
I'm a little concerned about what we've been hearing about Victoria Townsman. I think we should all be there when we talk to her. She sounds like a disturbing and strange character.
Agreed.
So we split up and then meet back at Victoria's?
Do we want to start with Victoria and then put up afterward?
That might be best.
It simplifies our movements.
Shall we then?
Right.
Yes.
Risha?
So, as you're all heading to Victoria, to the Victoria Townsman's. So, I will say that because it took you a while to come up with a plan there, we're going to call that Morning Watch, or we're going to call this, what we're doing now, the end of Morning Watch, Because as you leave, you are met by a middle-aged man who is twisting his hands over himself, standing outside of the door just a few feet, waiting for you. He's bald, wearing spectacles, tall and thin, kind of gray-faced. And when he sees you comes out, he makes kind of an elaborate but very stiff half bow. Burners, how nice to meet you. My name is Zachary Warsmaid. I am the school teacher here in town, but also a member of the fraternal lodge in town. And well, we oversee such, business things. And I just wanted to assure you that you have the lodge's full support in finding a witch in town. And whatever you may need, please don't hesitate to let us know. We are happy to present our trades and goods to you at a discount.
We appreciate your support. How, as you have business dealings with the town, how do you find Victoria Townsman's services as store master?
He takes a breath. She is an exceedingly competent store master and a member of our fraternal order, of course. As store master, she would be required. Quite talkative, lively. But, well, I believe there are reasons she is so good at being a store master. I think she believes strongly in the rod versus the carrot. A practice I can appreciate as schoolmaster. But yes, anything you should need, we are at your disposal. And he kind of, again, awkwardly, stiffly repeats this half bow.
I will say, how do your stores fare for the winter?
Poorly, Burner. Quite poorly, I'm afraid. I have had many of our crops destroyed, as you well see. Hopefully these salamander lizard creatures we've been told to harvest will provide some sustenance.
Good luck to you then.
Thank you, and you as well. Firebringer, watch over you. And then he leaves.
Shall we?
Indeed.
All right.
Yes.
All right. So you're heading over towards Victoria's, to her warehouses or to her home?
Whichever we suspect she would be at.
Yeah.
Okay, so her home is near the warehouses. So it wouldn't be unreasonable to think that she probably conducts business out of a room in her house. It's very common, especially in smaller towns like this. You come up to Wester House. It's a well-restored house in a Republican style. It's got a storefront in the bottom, lined with very modern, full-length windows. It's got, sashes and brass grills. Very not ostentatious, but very much a show of this is a very successful business kind of look to it. And there's the rest of the house kind of like butts into a very large barn that has been converted into a warehouse towards the back. And you walk in to see a woman there with, carefully combed back hair that you can tell is quite wild and probably will only continue to get wild throughout the day. It's starting to fall out of where she's attempted to comb it back. Her eyes are wide, just watching over workers coming and going, looking through papers. So, Burners, welcome. What can I do for you?
We have come to hear your take on the current situation. We're just going around conducting kind of informal interviews, meeting people, and since you are a leader here in this town, we
Well,
thought we'd get your opinion.
well, it's a shit show. What else is there to say? They have freak storms, and we've got dead animals, and we've got hail, and we've got salamanders falling from the sky, and people are going missing, and our crops are destroyed. I mean, look at my warehouse is like it's half empty. And she like gestures out towards where the warehouse would be. This is more just like an office that you're in. She holds up like fistfuls of papers and says, "This, this is you wouldn't even need to be efficient to be able to store all of this properly. It's a shit show."
What about the more supernatural, fantastical elements? What is
Yeah.
what do you think about those?
They're horrifying. I mean, I don't know. I don't know anything about witchcraft or magic. Just terrifying. This has got to be, I don't know, bad magic. If I mean, I guess all magic's bad, but I don't know. Isn't that your domain?
So, who was causing you pain before all of this started?
Causing me pain?
What? Who was a problem in this town before everything happened?
She thinks for a long moment. Says, well, and then just starts to list off like vague things. She says things like, well, we've got those shitty types of store masters that just like, can't give me good inventory on paper, which is insane. I mean, it's only my whole job to make sure things are in order, so I need, accurate records. That's a real pain in the ass. And let's see. Oh, farmers who like lie, purposefully lie about how much they're bringing me because they're hoping that 3 months from now that I'll just give them more and give somebody else's crops to them, and that other person just won't notice or care that they've been short shafted. Those are real pains in the asses. Yeah. Lazy kids that I hire to help who just can't seem to learn how to like stack boxes. It's not even hard. You don't need an advanced degree for that, and they just can't do it. And they cause loss of inventory, and then I have to make it up somehow. Those are real pains in the asses.
Okay.
We've recently met with Blaze. Do you know him?
Oh, town uncle. I mean, yeah, everybody knows who Blaze is. But that was a interesting conversation.
Indeed. Interesting man. We heard that he said he had mentioned you. You had or you were mentioned in conjunction with him when he was ill at his worst. Did you care for him?
Just double checking here. So just letting you, Blaze said that the bridge crossed when Nina Dukeskit walked across it, and he said that Carl Foundling wasn't very nice. Victoria was implicated by Edna, the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
She's
Right.
the one who said she doesn't trust her.
Yep.
Right.
Not in conjunction with Blaze.
No, I think one of the reasons that she wasn't trusted is because she would just go and like watch him while he was locked in the cell.
Yeah, she mentioned
Right.
that. Okay. Yeah, Edna mentioned that she would just like stare at him with like very intense wide eyes. Is that what you're referring to?
It is, yes. Trying to see if she has any sort of excuse.
I mean, he was just raving night and day. People were saying there was some kind of spirit riding him, and he shouldn't have been here. We shouldn't have kept let him back in. We should have just killed him or thrown him back out on the plains or something. Like you can't do for people once they've been possessed like that. The spirits don't want to leave. But Evan Bleeding Heart says he can do it. So I don't know. you don't get to look at spirits. I mean, not that I could like see the spirit, but I knew there was a spirit in that man, just riding him like a man rides a horse, and just you could see something in his eyes, just the way he would rant and rave and scream and just fling himself at those bars and just reach through them, and he would claw at himself. And she's getting like too into this story, and her eyes are just getting a little wild. She's clearly like kind of relishing these like more disturbing details of the story as she tells you.
I'm gonna press her some more, try and get her to really like kind of lose it. I'll just lean in. I've seen death and blood on the battlefields of this earth. There is an intensity to it that there is nothing else like. Do you find this to be true?
I've never been in battle, but I've heard stories. Krista won't talk about it. The guard captain, I don't know if you've spoken to her. She was in the war, lost her whole unit, and won't talk about it. But like some of the other people, some of the other soldiers, she brought back this woman with her. Like it's like her second hand. I don't know. She met her in the war or whatever, and now she just kind of like helps out here. But with the guard, she tells stories sometimes. If I give her enough beer at night, yeah, she tells stories. Zora Dawnbringer, that's her name.
Mm.
I don't know. I've never been myself. I don't know how good a soldier I'd be. I'm very good at this. If I ever had to join the army, they'd make me like the quartermaster or some shit because I'm so good at this. But I like the stories. Yeah, I'd love to buy you a beer and hear your stories.
Perhaps once the witch problem is
Yeah,
finished.
let's kill the witch, and get on with it. So, speaking of, got any leads? Any ideas?
We might.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's very eager. She's like clearly like expecting you to spill something.
I know she is. And I don't say another word.
She's visibly disappointed.
There's something
do you-
interesting about what you're saying. You watched Blaze when he was being ridden by the spirit and at his worst, and the town ceased caging him once he stopped raging and once the spirit left him. But we've heard that you were there for much of the time watching him rage. Do you think that the spirit might have seen you?
Well, I suppose it was seen through Blaze's eyes. Sometimes it seemed like he recognized me. And sometimes it seemed like he recognized me as, who I am when Blaze knew me before he went up the mountain. And sometimes it seemed like the spirit didn't know who I was, but saw me coming back and recognized that I had been there yesterday or a week ago, kind of thing. But not every time. So, I mean, I guess yeah, it did see me.
When was the last time you saw the spirit?
Oh, this was years ago. I mean, I didn't really like see the spirit. I saw Blaze, but while he was possessed, kind of thing. But years ago, like before they let him out of the cage.
Renny, did you have a question?
Who do you think it is?
I mean, I think just about everybody in this town is a worse person than they let on. But I don't know if I could name someone specific.
What's your gut say?
To get her to name a name, you would have to make some kind of move or roll to convince her.
All right, I'm going to try intimidation.
Okay.
I got a 4.
Okay. So 4 is a failure. It's just an outright failure. And so you're going to take some stress. And I think you're going to take it to take it to the Goodwill. Take it to the Goodwill track. She's
Okay.
not responding well to you attempting to intimidate her. She notices you, and she just kind of. Okay. I don't know. I don't bother myself with the supernatural and with the magic and who's got petty grudges against who. I got bigger shit to worry about. I got the warehouse up back, and I got two more big ones in town, and I got like an assortment of small ones, and they're always all of them full, and people are always bringing more shit here because we're popular. You know, you can't go east or west without passing through, and that means goods, that means money, that means shit people want to buy. So I got to store it all. I got logistics to deal with. I don't give a fuck about who's mad at who for, showing their ass someday. I don't know.
When you say people are worse than they appear, what's the worst thing that anyone has done in this town before this?
The worst thing. Well, worst is subjective, right? It's kids throw dog turds at each other, chase them up trees, throw dog turds in the cemetery. They'll find your weak spots, talk about it. They'll tell lies about you, spread lies, spread rumors, distort the truth. That's pretty shitty. They steal, you know. They get and not a murder here. Not. I think there was a murder once when I was a kid. A little kid. They wouldn't really talk about it. Everyone told me to stop asking about it, like over and over again. I always wondered if it was a murder, if it's an accident. But I don't know. They sabotage each other's businesses. But the worst thing, and she sits and you tell that she's like clearly kind of like relishing thinking through. Well, I don't know. The worst thing. I think I saw somebody throw some trash in the Black Goat pool once, like, and I don't mean like an apple core or like some shit like that. I mean like hooves and a bunch of it's like intestines or something tied up with string.
When
And
was
like it's the Black Goat pool, but you're not supposed to throw that kind of stuff in it.
when was this?
Desecration. Oh, like early summer, I guess. Late spring. Time gets weird sometimes.
You said someone?
Yeah. Um, I can't be totally sure. I wasn't real close. I'm not. I mean, I'll just say it. Like, I believe in the triad. I believe in the gods, right? Yeah. Like, but I'm not super religious, so I don't really go near them much. Like, I wouldn't throw shit like that in a holy pool. I got a little more healthy fear of the gods than that, but I don't really go that close to it either. If you want her to name a name, you're gonna have to make a roll.
I roll insight. See how, first off, how sure she is about what she's saying, but also see if I can get to her a little harder.
Sure. Roll insight.
That's an 8.
An 8 is a success with no penalty, I believe. What up? Yep. She's lying. She didn't say this.
Cool. I'll just be like, you didn't. I'll be like, you didn't see. Oh, God. Blanking on everyone's names now. Who's the butcher? What's her name?
Ariel Bearbreaker.
Yeah, I'll just be like, you didn't see Ariel Bearbreaker, or maybe.
I mean, it could have been her. Like I said, it's hard to tell. I mean, I guess they make sense. She butchers things she'd have intestines bundled up in string. I guess maybe. I mean, well, I don't know. I don't know why she'd be throwing them in a. That's weird. Why would she throw away intestines? You can like make them into sausage or something.
Very strange. Well,
But,
I'm gonna glance at everyone else, kind of just give them a look and be like, "Well, thank you for your time."
yeah, of course. Looking forward to when you catch that fucker.
I'm sure you are.
Oh yeah, gonna be a big bird. I'll buy you a beer later. And she points at you, Mateo.
Yeah, I'll see you then. Oh no.
As we leave, and when we are definitely outside of earshot of her, I'm just going to say I don't think anyone in this town would have said if we said it was her. I'm just gonna keep walking.
All right, and that is our afternoon watch. It's now the evening watch. Where did you guys want to go next?
Where do we want to go next?
Are we splitting up? Bridge and
We only have one more watch. Do we want to just stick together?
Why don't we talk about what Robin said?
Oh yeah. She was lying, by the way. She didn't see any of that. She's making the entire thing up.
I don't like her, and I like us. And
She wants to see
time
someone
is
get
running
hurt.
out. Yeah, time is running out for us.
She was saying that the last time she saw the spirit or signs of the spirit in Blaze was years before he was uncaged, but she still kept
Years ago.
going.
Years ago, slightly before he was
Ah,
encaged.
okay.
Yeah.
The whole period of him being caged was only like a couple of months, but it
Okay.
happened several years ago.
But she took pleasure in this.
Yes.
She was
according
definitely
to everyone.
interested.
I think she takes pleasure in any other people's suffering.
I do not want to drink with this woman.
I know how to fix that.
Robin, what do you know of spirits? Is it possible for one to leave one and cross to another?
Let's find out. I have an 8 again.
Is it you making this your domain?
Nah,
Your specialization within
no,
magic?
actually, no, I don't want to.
Okay. So what did you roll then?
I still rolled an 8.
But what
I just
did
rolled
you
my
use?
I rolled my domain of magic, which
Okay.
I already have.
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
want this to be my specialty in it. Spirit
Okay.
seems pretty niche.
So an 8 with 6 success, no stress. So yeah, that can happen. Spirit possession is more likely, out in like wild areas. Like you
Yeah.
felt the presence of spirits when you were out in the woods around town of Bridge, and they dislike being kind of like naked like that around humans, like
Mhm.
large groups of humans. But they have been known to hop from person to person. It's probably why a lot of the townspeople felt like it was a bad idea to let Blaze be in town with a spirit riding him like that. But they would generally flee given the option.
We
so.
went out to the woods. Spirits. There was an offering there. It's feasible. It's certainly feasible for that to happen. But yeah.
So feasible that the spirit crossed to her, but more likely that it fled the city entirely.
Yes.
Yes.
Though it wouldn't surprise me if someone who was very interested in seeing carnage that possessed person like that could do wouldn't try to entice one to come back.
Interesting.
Evening
Is it
watch is burning, y'all.
possible?
Just letting you know, evening watch is burning.
Yep.
So,
I think
Okay.
we're happy with having this.
Is it possible that you can control a spirit if you invite it in?
you would know that to be theoretically possible, but it would require an incredibly strong personal like willpower and spirit, and it would require some like experience and knowledge of spirits in general.
Okay.
Like you're not going to control the first spirit you ever summon,
Yeah.
especially if you're summoning it into yourself as the first time you ever summon a spirit. In theory, yes, but it's been the downfall of most overconfident witches.
In theory, but highly improbable.
Mm.
I will say, as I have said before, is there anyone near us?
We can assume you guys are out. You know, if you're trying to keep your distance, it's not terribly hard to keep your distance from people.
Yeah. And I say quietly. We've already established that much of the things we've seen here could be chalked up to angry gods more so than witchcraft or vengeance. It seems to me that if someone were to be either making the wrong kinds of offerings, defouling the offerings left from others, that could be a cause. Would it not?
Seems very plausible.
And I think that based on our investigation so far, finding a single culprit has been plaguing this town, likely. But doing the town service by removing less than savory individual, actively it takes pleasure in the harm that befalls others, might benefit it more. Say in a offering to
Or in an appeasement to Winterwhite?
perhaps.
What do you think, Gillin?
The person would have to be an affront to... The person would have to be an affront to the gods. They would... The town would be better for it, but we have to make sure that whoever is removed is worsening the town's spiritual collectiveness.
So why don't we ask the gods?
I would like to use manifest.
Right.
Manifest a god. Manifest a
Yeah,
god.
I wish.
And
And
that's going to be beyond what the GM will allow you to do.
Ah.
Sorry.
Girl can dream. Come on.
And I will just say, I am sure someone who actively wishes the harm of their fellow townsfolk for their own enjoyment and bullies them, muddies the spirit of the town, would be affecting the spiritual strength of it.
So
Such
you are
as
manifesting.
what?
So you are manifesting an idea?
I am taking the idea that her disposition and ill temper is actively negatively affecting the spiritual well-being of the town.
So like her seeming bloodthirst
Mhm.
is negatively affecting the town.
Yes,
You're manifesting that.
it's as a truth.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, I'll allow it.
And I take stress to my mind. I think.
So it's two that you can split how you would like amongst mind and or body.
I'll take it both to memory.
Okay. What is your level of stress to your mind currently?
3 now.
Okay. All right. So you hear Robin say it out loud. Victoria's bloodthirst is negatively affecting his town. And Renny, because you know what to look for, you know what to be aware of, you feel something in the air when Robin says it. And you know that he used some power right there.
And I just whisper, evil eyes.
Mateo and Gillin, would you care to make a roll for me? It would be anything you have relevant to magic or uncovering hidden things. Any kind of knowledge or insight you might have.
No, not for me.
I knew I should have taken insight instead of specializing in religion, but I didn't.
Success.
All right. I will say then, because you do not actively suspect Robin at this moment, unless I'm wrong, you may correct me, of anything unusual, that no free rolls then. You'd have to have something that directly relates to it in order to roll to see if you realize what he's doing.
I
Robin
have
is just a
deception.
I'm so proud
I
of
would
my
say that
brother.
deception would work because you can't, if you're used to creating deceptions, you might be able to tell when someone's hiding something. So if you want that to apply, we'll allow you to roll with that.
I don't think I would be out to look for being deceived.
Okay.
So
Robin's just such a sweet, innocent small boy.
yeah,
Yeah.
I want to
Carrying
believe
around.
when he says really scary things.
I mean, it seems like a very reasonable statement. Someone's bad attitude could affect a small town, especially when they have a position of authority and power and influence.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we're going to.
And her own ally said that she uses the rod, not the carrot, which presumably means that she beats her employees.
Mm-hmm.
Could mean she's also just generally very harsh
Yeah.
towards her employees, and it's not like a very kind employer. But she
Well,
might also just beat them too.
that's enough. Just being unkind is enough.
Enough for me.
No unkind employers.
So I turn to Robin and I just nod slightly. And I turn to Mateo and Gillin. You know what we have to do.
We need evidence that will hold up to scrutiny.
Okay.
I think we can
Declare
manage
that the end of the evening's watch. So it is now night, and you guys will have to choose whether you want to sleep or do some other action and take penalties tomorrow.
I think we should sleep. I think
Absolutely.
we can take care of gathering evidence in the morning.
We have a big day tomorrow.
All right, sleep it is.
Gillin stays up all night praying to the Triad for a sign of Victoria's guilt.
Die penalty to rolls you make tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Were you attempting to use any kind of move or anything there with that?
I don't really have anything on my character sheet that would yeah, like I don't
Just double check.
there's not an ability. it's just something that I feel that they would do in this sort of stressful situation.
All right. Seems appropriate that a zealot would respond to stress with prayer. All right. So the morning of the 15th day dawns. It is a north wind is blowing down. It is icy and cold from that wind, and it is just clear as sparkling glass outside. It's the first morning in almost a week where there hasn't been fog.
It's a sign, I say at breakfast. We've broken the magic. And now we just have to bring her up.
I'd like to take a quick look this morning at her houses. I know we saw the one when we came to town, but quickly maybe check one of the ones, maybe two of them. See if there is anything amiss.
What if we split up? What if Robin and I go to two of the warehouses and Mateo and Gillin go to the other two?
I also wonder about her more personal effects. Perhaps while she is at the warehouses, if we find our way into
I have an
her
idea.
quarters.
Renny, why don't you and Gillin ask her to meet you at one of her houses? Mateo and I can go home.
Perfect. I think that sounds great.
Do you agree?
Yes.
It's a good plan.
Shall we?
We shall.
All right.
As we're leaving,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take one or two of the glass vials that I have, and I'm just going to, under the table, pass them to Renny.
Empty or with or with specimens?
They have specimens in them.
For my knowledge and for Miellyn's, which ones are you passing her, or is it random?
It's random. I just pull two of the ones that have something in them from the leather pouch and just pass them under the table.
Sure. We'll say you keep them separated in your bag, so it's easy to know which one you're pulling out. So, Renny, you've got two specimen vials.
Okay, perfect.
Do you check them at all, or do you just immediately slip them into your own bag?
Bag.
Just right into your bag? Okay. All right, so Renny is going to ask Victoria to meet her and Gillin or Mateo? Gillin at a warehouse, and Robin and Mateo will investigate a different warehouse or home while this is happening. All right. So Renny and Gillin, you find her at the office, much same as before. We'll see this is the tail end of morning watch now, and her hair is neater this morning because it's been more pulled back. She looks tired. She's got big circles under her eyes and is kind of a little gaunt and drawn. But she sees you and says, "Back again? Well, two of you. What can I do for you?"
This isn't at her house, right? It's
warehouse.
It is. Her office is in a storefront at the front, and it's like a store. It's think of old Roman style houses where they have a store in the house and then they live above it. It's kind of like that.
Okay. So we do need to get her out of here. Okay.
And then she has one warehouse that's kind of like an old barn that's butted up against her house, but she has the big one where you met Goran on the first day. She's mentioned a couple other big ones and a couple of small ones throughout the town. She looks at you and says, "What can I do for you?"
We were curious if you could show us one of your storehouses so that we could have an expert's eyes on the materials they're in, and so that those of us together could uncover anything unusual or suspicious.
I'm told you already visited at least one of my warehouses. You spoke to Goran, my right-hand man. Uh, what are you looking for, Witchburners? I mean, you understand that I have clients who trust me, and
Oh,
I want to find this witch. But if you tell me what it is you're looking for, I can take us to where you need to go. I don't particularly want to disturb all of my clients' belongings that they've entrusted me to keep safe.
oh no, of course. Honestly, we've been everywhere in town. In order to show that we've really done our job, we have to check every place twice. And if you could just let us walk around a bit, we can go back and honestly say that we were here. It wouldn't, it's just a formality.
I can't let you go unsupervised, but I can send someone with you. Do you care which warehouse?
Not really.
All right, fine. Let's just go to the one next door then. Make it quick. All right. Yeah, I'll introduce you to one of my people.
Excellent. Thank you.
She heads out the door. And there is I think a woman who looks like Victoria, but a little shorter, a little plumper, and with hair that is significantly less wild. Who is sitting outside with her nose like super in her book, and Victoria says, "Vita, Vita, Vita." And she has to do this for like 30 whole seconds before Vita's like, "What?" And Victoria's like, "Watch The Office. I'm gonna take the burners to the warehouse. They won't look around. Just you know what to do. Come on." Put the book down and go, and like this argument kind of thing. And finally Vita's like, fine, and just gets up and goes aside. And you can see, if you watch, she just immediately sits down with the book. Like, she's not even pretending to like be working or anything. And Victoria leads you off towards the barn warehouse in the back. And Robin, Mateo, what are you doing with the tail end of your...
Before we switch over, I'd like to hang back and see if I could plant the contents of one of the vials secretly.
Okay. We can start with that when we come back.
Okay.
I want to keep the time congruent because we have the tail end of the morning watch here. So, Robin and Mateo, what are you guys doing with the tail end of your morning watch?
Basically waiting for them to get her out of her home.
Like, are you hiding?
Maybe going around. Is there a back entrance?
There would be an entrance into the home.
Yep.
A back entrance, like through a back garden kind of thing.
Probably waiting back there once we hear them leaving.
Okay. It is late morning at a warehouse. So, are you trying to be stealthy and be unseen entirely? Or do you not really care if people see you?
I don't really care if people see us, because we can mill about looking around like we're investigating the area.
Okay. All right. So there are, some people who do walk by. You're noticed. A couple of people will tip their hat at you, but nobody stops you. Nobody gives you a hassle or anything. By now you're known in town. They know who you are, and they know,
Just nod.
or at least can guess why. But you are seen. You are noticed there. All right. And are you going to attempt to get into the house?
Yes.
All right. How are you going to do that? Are you just going to walk right up?
Yep.
All right. Fair enough. So I think as you're waiting, you do hear a couple of older women, like a little small gaggle of them, probably like 4 to 6, somewhere like that, coming by, and they're all just excitedly talking over each other and overlapping each other's sentences in such a way that it sounds almost like it's just one continuous voice coming back and forth. And they're like, "Oh yeah, I heard. Yes, it's so good. We're so glad to have him back. That's wonderful. Bruised and battered, but oh, he's back. The doctor must be so happy. He's alive. But did you hear? He said, and they're going on, and you get to talk. They're talking about Jonah Prize Piece, Dr. Cleanlight's husband, who's been missing for several days. He's apparently back.
Glance at Mateo. Raise an eye.
I'll have to call on him later.
And you hear from these women as they come by that he apparently woke up in a ruined tomb out in the hills somewhere with no memory of having been gone for 3 days. And he's bruised and battered and very cold, but hale and healthy otherwise.
Hmm.
All right, so you walk up towards the back of the house. There's a gate behind a small like kitchen garden kind of thing. The gate doesn't really lock. You know, it's pretty trivial to just like reach over, pop it, walk in. Most of the crops here are like either were harvested already because it's we're getting to late November at this point, mid to late November, or destroyed in the hailstorm and the snails and the various other animals that have popped up. And you go towards the back door, and it is, I think it's like slightly not quite latched, as if somebody just forgot to pull it all the way shut behind them to get into the kitchen.
Convenient. Gently push it open and stealthily look inside.
All right. It is a very handsome, well-appointed kind of house. It's filled with, very lovely antique-looking furniture. Republican furniture matches the outside of this restored Republican house. It's very tasteful, actually.
Well,
You don't
she
see
certainly
any.
has an eye for detail.
Indeed. Walk inside.
All right. You're in the kitchen.
Listening, see if we hear anyone else moving about.
For a few moments, you don't hear anything. And then you hear a kind of dry, rattling cough coming from upstairs. Sounds of somebody who's ill. And with a cough like that, probably quite ill and has been for a while. Coming from upstairs. And it goes on for a moment and then stops.
I'd like to take a look around downstairs. See if we see anything out of the ordinary first.
All right, so make me some kind of roll.
I'd like to make an study roll.
All right. Mateo, are you looking as well? Or are you doing something independent of Robin?
I'm gonna kind of cover Robin after hearing that cough. Just kind of keep an eye on the stairs.
Okay.
Maybe get ready to maybe assess kind of what else is going on in this house.
Okay. So then you can make a separate roll for me to kind of get like the lay of the land, basically. All right. And Robin, what did you roll?
2 10s.
Excellent. So you get a 10, which is a critical success, basically.
Yep.
If you were attempting to cause stress to someone else, it would be doubled, but you're not. But I think when you poke around, so, coming out of the kitchen is, of course, the dining room, which leads into a kind of like formal sitting area. There's an entryway. The long hallways, like a small, like, den kind of thing is there as well. And I think when you are poking around in the like small den study kind of area, the drawers you pull out and you find like slabs of very finely made wax, which would be used to create the wax seals on those kinds of things towards candles. Like, it's not unusual to find these slabs of wax, but these are exceedingly nice. But they're not like laying flat in the drawer. And when you dig in and look around underneath, there's 2 waxen dolls, like little kind of crudely made dolls made of wax with anguished and pained faces.
I am going to... So, out of character for a second.
Mm-hmm.
We need to find evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Mechanically, do we need to find that evidence and bring it forward, or do we need to show people that evidence in the person's home?
You need to bring it to the council in some form or fashion, or bring the council to the evidence and declare that this is evidence of witchcraft and convince them that it is adequate evidence of witchcraft.
then I'm going to, before I remove those dolls from the drawer, I'm going to take the cat hair that I collected earlier.
From the cat that was nailed to the schoolhouse door?
Yes. And I'm going to push the cat hair into the wax of both of them.
All right.
And then I'm going to pull them out and show them to Mateo.
All right.
What?
All right. So, Mateo, you see Robin disappear into the little study den kind of area. And what did you roll for your like getting the lay of the land roll?
I got a 7.
A 7. Okay. And you're specifically just trying to figure out like who's in the house, like what's going on, what you should be aware of.
Yeah, I think I'm just trying to get a kind of sweeping situation. If we saw her at all, would we have seen them leave and noticed that she was also looking kind of tired? Or are we too far away?
You could definitely see them leave because of the way it's connected. You would see them walk around to the warehouse.
Okay.
I don't think you would be close enough to tell that she looked very tired.
All right.
So it's 7 is a success at a cost.
Okay.
So you're going to take some stress. And I think that as you are kind of listening at the base of the stairs, looking around, trying to get a feel for who might be in the house, I think that cough's a little unnerving. And I think kind of psychosomatically, the back of your throat starts to feel dry and itchy. So you're going to take a stress to your body. And you start mentally going through like who would be in a house. Okay, so she had Vita, you know, you didn't see Vita, but anyone who's young and able-bodied would probably be working either with her in one of the warehouses or in their own job capacity somewhere. You haven't seen any servants. It's possible that they're only here in the evenings. You know, the house is nice. Of course, she has servants, but you haven't seen them doing any work. They're probably not just like chilling upstairs. They don't generally live here. You know, they live somewhere else. You know, you're running through all these like possibilities and so forth. And what seems to be the thing that most likely to you is an older relative. Maybe not older, but definitely more likely to be older, but a relative who's ill and is bedridden upstairs. And you don't leave like somebody like that alone. So there's probably someone else in the house, probably upstairs with them, attending to them.
Okay. I'll kind of mention this to Robin. We must be careful and we have to be quick. I don't think we are alone here.
And I will
see Robin come around with something in his hands. And we'll come back to that. Hop over to Renny and Gillin. So, Renny, you're going to try and hang back to plant some evidence from one of the vials that Robin gave you. Gillin, do you notice this? You think you're keeping an eye out for that?
I think Gillen's more focused on making sure that Victoria is distracted.
Okay. So you're, engaged in that conversation with Victoria, taking her towards the warehouse. Right. And we'll say that I think you notice Renny kind of hang back a bit, but you don't really like pay attention, or maybe you assume that she's doing something relevant to your investigation, so you just keep going with Victoria, which Renny does create an opportunity for you.
Yeah, so I want to act like, I don't know if my shoe has laces, but something
Sure.
to that effect, where I hung back to tie my shoe and I look around for a place. Is there a crevice in the stone or a place that I could tuck something?
So are you just attempting to like tuck the whole test tube kind
of thing? No, I opened the vial.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got the fish scales.
Okay.
That was one of the vials, right? Okay, so I take just a few fish scales out and I want to see, is there a place where I can put them?
So you're outside, and it's like a very, very short front garden kind of thing.
Okay.
It's, very short, like 4 feet deep, basically, from the road to the entryway to the office. So if you just wanted to like drop them on the steps and have them be right out there in the steps, you could. You do run the risk of somebody stepping on them or them, like getting washed away, that kind of thing. But you could put them anywhere in the garden. You could try popping back into the office and leaving them somewhere. It didn't seem like Vita paid a whole lot of attention to anything.
So I want to say, like, like if there's an edge to the steps, like a crevice where somebody might not step on it, but not too hidden.
So there's stonework, so you could probably leave it like in the grout.
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
Okay, just upend it and put it in the grout.
Yep, and I just push it in just a little bit so it's not going to go anywhere.
It's disgusting.
Yes.
This is like 2-3 week old rotting fish scales.
Sniff my fingers.
Oh, it's revolting.
I put the vial back together and I go on to meet up with my party.
Say you catch up without any real difficulty. And we'll say that the three of you all make it to the warehouse together. And she opens the door and says, "Hey, what are y'all looking for? You just want to walk down the aisles?"
Like I said, it's just a formality. We're here to tick a box. Is there anything
Whoa. Take a box?
Tick.
Okay.
Tick.
Because
Check
you
a
want to
box.
look in a box like your Witchburners. I'll make an exception. I'm not supposed to let anybody look at anything. And normally I don't. You can trust your privacy in my warehouse. But you're Witchburners, and I want to catch this fucking witch.
Show me the box. What's
Which
in the
box
box?
you want to look at?
Show us the oldest box, the one that's been here the longest and least disturbed.
The oldest box. And she turns right inside the door and she takes a clipboard off of a hanger there, and she starts like flipping like page through her clipboard. And I will make a roll here. We'll see who has the oldest box in this warehouse. All right. Says, huh. All right. And she just like walks down the aisle and she takes you down the middle aisle, then she cuts a left like a third of the way down and then cuts up, and like it's kind of maze like, like you can tell that there are small groupings, but they're not all like the same regular sized grouping of boxes and crates and various things in the warehouse. But she takes you through and it gets kind of dusty back there, and she stops in front of a like well-made, exceedingly well-made, very simple kind of crate that's like low to the floor and very long, maybe 4 or 5 feet long and about 2 feet deep or so. And it's just like planks of wood but simple but exceedingly well made. Like it's unusual to have such good craftsmanship in such a simple thing. And she points this oldest box. Belongs to Jesus Hammerbreaker, town carpenter. Don't know if you've spoken to him yet, but you haven't.
No, we haven't.
Yeah, all right. Cool. She reaches down into her belt and like pulls out like a small hammer. And she's got like tools of various types hanging off of like a utility belt kind of thing, And she takes a claw and she starts wrenching nails out of the edge of it and just like pops the lid right off. Doesn't really seem to care that much for like the craftsmanship of this crate. And then she unfurls a big piece of canvas, and then she looks down and says, "Well, I'll be damned." And she points, and inside is a chest. And I think it would be pretty obvious to recognize it as a betrothal chest, a hope chest, that what young women tend to work on for most of their adolescence is them sewing sheets and linens and other things to take to their home when they get married. And it is exceptionally well carved, exceptionally well made. It's very decorative. It's got scenes carved into it that you can, especially you, Gillin, would recognize these as scenes from the holy texts about talking about marriage and marriage of some famous prophets and that kind of thing, and marriage plays a central role in our lives and all that stuff kind of thing. Just typical for a hope chest or betrothal chest, but it's just exceptionally beautifully made. Yeah.
Can I
Victoria
open
just
it?
kind of looks at you.
I say to her.
I mean, sure, go ahead. You said
So
you wanted to look.
I go in and I just like wrench it open.
oof, you don't need to wrench it. It actually like opens very easily. Like it's very well made in the
So I'm
like
overpowered and I gotta
oh
like
yeah.
fall backward a little bit.
Yeah, like the whole crate like tips and then settles back because it's empty. I don't know why it's here instead of in his house, but you know. It's pretty.
Going to take a closer look to see which elements of the holy texts are being referenced in the carvings.
There is a story in that appears in the holy text for all three of the triad. So they all have like a central shared text, and then they have like addendums or like variations. How similar to how like books in the Bible will tell us the same stories but tell them slightly differently, kind of thing. Same kind of idea amongst the three main avatars. And there is a from the section that is normally used for readings at weddings and that kind of thing. Uh, and it's a story of a man and a woman falling in love and getting married. Chat is asking me what their names are. um Oh, you guys don't know. That's like the one thing I put lots and lots of thought into is names. I don't actually names are like the one thing I don't come up with off the top of
No,
my head.
the cat's name.
Oh, the cat's name? Ian, do you want to introduce your
I think
cat?
they're
Because
asking
everyone's going
Ian's
crazy about the
cat's
cat.
name. Yeah.
This is Kits. He's an asshole. He has his own emote. Say
He's
hello.
a ginger cat. They're all assholes.
Hi, evil snot bag.
Hi, kids.
Hello, kids.
Okay. Yeah, don't worry. Okay, so
Yeah, so chat
but it's
wanted okay,
empty.
good chat. But yeah, it is empty. But yes, this is a section of the religious text that it's specific to weddings. Pretty much every wedding ever, someone gets a reading from some section of this, talking about the nature of love and like how it enriches our lives, and it's often for most people quite moving actually.
Mhm.
There's like a specific tree, like a flowering tree that they get married under, and it's carved with like just loving detail across the lid of this chest.
But it's
Been
empty.
finished. It's completely empty.
Tell me, so I asked her, I said, tell me about Jesus.
Town carpenter, big man, strong. What you'd think a carpenter would be. Fells trees. Never been a better woodcutter in town. I don't know.
Tell me about his wife.
Anya. She looks very like mystified from it. She says, I have no idea how that dullard found a wife like that.
Oh.
Look, don't get me wrong. He's nice enough, but he's dumber than the Woody Chops. All right, he always has been, and he's not talkative. He's not charming. He's not smooth. He's not outgoing. Keeps to himself. He's quiet, and he marries this woman who looks like she was sculpted out of a pillar of gold by the gods.
Okay.
You know, she's beautiful and she's got this incredible like she walks into the room and men just turn their heads to stare at her and half the women do too. Like,
Do you turn to stare?
I'm not into women. She's gorgeous, don't get me wrong. She is like objectively an incredibly beautiful woman. I'm just not into women. But this must be hers, I guess. Or well, I mean, wouldn't she? Hope just they stay in your home at the foot of your bed. Like sometimes mothers
Yeah.
pass them to their daughters. I don't.
Is this odd? Interesting.
So
Was he married before her?
No.
So it would make sense for it to be kept safe to be passed on to perhaps the next generation, but then why is it under his name and not hers?
He could have just been the one who showed up at the warehouse to bring it in. Like, if she came to claim it, we'd let her. They're married. They don't have a daughter. They've got a kid, a young boy. Marius, I think. I don't know. I don't really kids. Not my thing. But
Okay, well, thank you for your help. I think it's probably getting to be about that time, don't you think, Gillin?
I believe so. Thank you for your expert knowledge.
Yeah, of course. You're welcome in the warehouse anytime you guys want to come. You know, like I said, I want to catch the fucking witch and burn her. It, him, whoever, them, whatever. But like, don't open any boxes without me or one of my clerks with you, just so I can like say that I did my due diligence in protecting my clients and their
Of
privacy.
course. Of course.
Thank you.
Of course.
All right. And she like makes a very sharp whistle, and out of like just like after a minute or two, you hear like some footsteps come running, and then there's like a teenage girl, she's probably like 15 or so, and Anya says, or Victoria says, hammer, and the girl says, pulls one out, like very eagerly. Seal it up. Don't talk about what you've seen. Privacy. The girl just like nods, like and just goes and starts hammering, like and closing it up again. And Victoria leads you out. And we're gonna cut back over to Robin and Mateo. So, Mateo, you see Robin is holding something out to you.
What is that?
This is
Dolls?
Oh yes, look familiar. How similar are these in appearance, if not material, to the ones that were us?
It is. You couldn't tell. To like the other ones were like they looked like children's dolls that had like clothing and had their faces repainted to look like you guys.
Right.
And had like new hair attached to match your own hair. This is like a wax, like somebody like got the wax soft and molded it together. It doesn't look like any particular person. And there are only 2 of them, but their faces do look kind of pained and anguished as far as you can tell.
Hmm.
Found something interesting hidden in a drawer.
Is that hair?
It would appear to be, yes.
I don't like this at all. There are more people in this house, but I don't think we want to be caught here unless we need to search this house completely. In that case, I think we can just tell them we need to and to be quiet.
Agreed. Personally feel like we could also, this may be enough to present evidence for a more formal, thorough investigation sanctioned by the town. Well,
Yes. I'd be in favor of that.
and perhaps we should catch up.
Indeed.
I want to take a quick look around outside as well, see if we find anything.
Again, the garden. Okay, make another roll for me, please. Are you going to assist Mateo?
I was actually thinking about checking her food stock.
Okay, sure. You can, look in the pantry as you guys head out. Absolutely, make
Yeah.
a roll for that.
Oh, it's a 2.
So 2 is a failure. Take stress.
Mhm.
I think you're gonna take it to your mind this time. I think you're unnerved. I think it's hard for you to focus, especially because you keep hearing the coughing from upstairs, and your throat is still like tickling. It's kind of like, am I getting sick? Am I gonna get the plague just by being here? Like, I have that little bit of fear. And the food stocks seem very normal. There's dried grains. There's some recent-ish vegetables. There's some cured meats, kind of
All
thing.
right. Just wanted to make sure she wasn't hoarding anything.
All right. And Robin.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a look in the garden out front.
Mhm.
See if I find anything unusual. Perhaps
What did you roll?
anything I haven't rolled yet. I was just
Oh,
saying
okay.
perhaps anything that might have been left on the steps.
All right. So make a roll for me.
I have a 7.
7. That is success at a cost. All right. All right. So let me make another. Yeah. Okay. you're not really like a gardener type. You don't mind being outside because you don't mind being alone. And going outside on long hikes is a good way to get away from people.
Is
But you don't really know a whole lot about country kitchen gardens kind of thing. And I think as you are digging around inside in the garden, kind of like brushing plants aside, I think you're not paying attention very closely to some of the plants. And I think you get too close to the like ornamental kind of holly type shrub. And it's one of those with like sharp.
yeah.
And I think you just like
Body.
shove your like whole arm through one and get scratched.
Okay.
It's just surface scratches. You know, there's maybe like 2 drops of blood down the whole thing, little bitty drops, but you're gonna take a stress to your body.
Alrighty.
But you do succeed. And I think when you are, is this the front garden or the back garden
Oh,
you guys are leaving through?
The front.
So you'd have to go back into the office.
No,
to
like
do
go out
that.
the back and go around front.
Okay, so but you came all the way around to the front to dig into that garden.
Yeah.
All right. So as you are digging through there, I think that you get kind of pissed about that, and you're like shaking it, and then you catch a whiff of just unmistakable rotten fish. Just a little whiff, and you think, Renny must have been here.
Yes. And I will wait for Mateo.
Yeah,
I
I'll
can picture you
follow.
guys came around together. Like you took a moment to look through the stores, and then you came around together. So Mateo's there with you. And yeah, I think Robin, you do see a little shine of some slimy fish scales on the ground on the edge of the steps.
I'll kneel down to get a closer look and point it out to Mateo.
I think I was checking my bag. Probably smelled it too. Oh, thank God. It's not me.
Not anymore. Interesting, though.
Why wouldn't this be cleaned?
Does seem fairly fastidious, although it is wedged in here pretty good.
Perhaps she was in a hurry.
Maybe.
Are you going to collect it?
Yes, I will collect it.
Oh.
All right. And we'll say at that point that Renny and Gillin, you come around the corner with Victoria. It is now the end of the afternoon watch. And you see Robin and Mateo. You see Robin standing up from the steps with one of his unmistakable little glass vials. And he slips it
I'm
into his bag.
famished, I say very loudly. Can we get some dinner? I want to get some dinner.
Did you find anything unusual?
A box.
Unusual, but not the right kind of unusual.
Nothing good was in it.
Is she with them?
Yeah, she's there, standing behind you, behind the, coming up behind. She need anything else? Getting
She
kinda
was
late.
very nice to show us around. We took
Happy
the
to oblige
box.
her burners.
Yes, so let's
And you
get
see
some
somehow
dinner.
mysteriously her hair has just like continued to escape the way she's pulled it back, even though it like she hasn't been messing with it. Says, I'm gonna close up shops for the night.
Thanks again.
I'm here if you need me for tomorrow. 3rd day in a row. And she just kind of like walks right by you.
Can we talk on our way back to the inn?
We should,
Sure.
yes. Found a few things very interesting.
You did. What did you find? We didn't find anything.
Yeah, we found some waxwork dolls.
Oh no.
Were fashioned to look like people in pain. And
Interesting.
Laced with
Yes.
hair.
Hair. Like hair? Like
it's
people's
shorter.
hair?
No, it was shorter. I can take a closer look and try to determine what kind of hair it is, but I wanted to do a thorough search. I also found some of that fish, some of the rotting fish.
You did.
Yes.
There's also somebody else living in the house who's very, very ill.
No one else has mentioned before, I noticed.
Yeah.
Very strange.
Not even people who talked about her.
We should ask.
So I will say that it actually isn't strange. It is very uncommon for people to live fully alone.
Mhm.
In this kind of society. So like it's just kind of assumed that extended families, like parents and siblings,
Around,
unmarried
yeah.
siblings would live together, that kinds of thing. So it's not unusual that there is other people in her house.
Okay.
And it's not particularly unusual that they weren't mentioned because they didn't really come up in conversation.
Okay. So I sort of brush past that and say, "May I see those dolls, Robin?"
I think once we return to, our rooms, don't want to be throwing around in public just yet. This could be important evidence.
Oh,
Should we go directly to the town council tonight to request that search?
It's not a bad idea.
it's not a bad
Get it
idea.
organized for the morning.
Or even the middle of the night?
True. What do you think?
I don't like her.
Considering that not necessarily the entire town is on our side, or at least views us in the most positive lights, it might be worth it to tell the town council to prepare to search someone's house, but then leave off whom we're searching until the last minute so that no one gets informed.
I like that.
It's a good idea.
Let's do that.
Warn them and then perform the search in the morning, or
tonight.
Or do you prefer tonight, Mateo?
Well, if we're looking to put somebody off a little, get them unbalanced perhaps, then an unexpected time would definitely put us at the advantage. The morning, however, I think would be fine as well.
I agree. That way we night over rest.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Let's go inform the council.
Head towards, I assume towards the mayor's house. As you go, you are intercepted by two people hurrying towards you, and they kind of wave up their hands. Burners, Witchburners. And as you get closer, you can see it's Krista Changemaker, the watch captain, and Leah Takewood, who she is the milkmaid. You've met her at the maid's hall, the very religious kind of one. And they approach you, and Leah kind of curtsies, and Krista just gives you a nod to each of you. Burners, we wanted to talk to you. It's very important that we talk to you.
How can we help?
They kind of exchange glances at each other, and then Leah says, well, it's hard to ignore mounting evidence that she kind of loses her nerve and looks at Krista, and then Krista says, we think it's Ivan Clockmaker. He has to be the witch. He's terrified of you. Everyone's talking about how he's terrified of you. His wife is berating him. Like, well, that's not new, but she's berating him to a new level. Like, it has to be him.
And why do you think that? Just because he's nervous?
I've been around enough to know that the presence of authority makes certain people nervous. Even good people who've done nothing wrong. And people who want to work with you and help you. They can still get nervous when you come with a lot of power and authority over their lives. Normal to be nervous with Witchburners in town. And Ivan is a real nervous, twitchy, weaselly little man. But I've never seen him this nervous. I think he's taking it to a whole other level. You see the stress. I heard that he brought you a goose, a cooked goose or duck or something.
He did.
Like,
Good.
that's expensive. He doesn't cook. Lana doesn't cook. His daughters don't cook that well. I don't know where he got it. And to just and Leah speaks up. He's not well trusted. He's not well liked. I could see why he would turn to something as evil as witchcraft to get his revenge on the townsfolk for not particularly liking him, and because, well, he doesn't sleep in his home. I heard one of his daughters mention it. He sleeps on a cot in his workshop.
Hmm.
Marital problems. Be so lucky to have such a successful and important wife and 4 incredible daughters. And well, there are stories about him in the maids hall too, and all of them rejections from the women. And a man like that, of course he would turn to witchcraft. And how could he get so good at all of his clockmaking and his tinkering? He is very talented. But how could a man like that have talent unless he stole it or bargained for it?
You did say that he spends his nights in his workhouse, yes?
He sleeps there on his own cot. He doesn't sleep. He doesn't share a bed with his wife.
Hmm.
I would imagine that if someone didn't actually have a home life, that they might channel their energies into something else.
Yes, yes.
Like maybe they're
You
Well, he's unnaturally gifted with clockwork. And combined with his weaselly nature and his. Frankly, he's disgusting.
Can I roll insight on Krista?
Absolutely.
I want to see if she believes this or if this is.
Please tell me he makes automatons. That's all I want to. That's all I want.
Little bitty ones.
yes.
Like
I rolled a
toys.
10 again.
All right,
Nice.
you look at Krista, and she's mostly looking at Leah, but she almost immediately feels your eyes on her, and she turns and looks you right in the face. And she believes this completely.
Hmm.
She has probably heard every single story that Leah could tell you about how Ivan is creepy and gross and hangs around too much around the unmarried women who live in the maids' hall. And probably, honestly, given her position, has escorted more than one woman home because they asked her to be on the safe side.
Interesting.
And she believes she believes what she told you, that Ivan is nervous, but to a whole new level, and that it's not the kind of normal nerves that authority can invoke on certain people.
But does
She's
she?
convinced fully.
Interesting. Yep. We will take this under advisement and include it with the rest of the evidence we've collected.
I did say we wanted to help, and I promised you I would help however I could. So
Thank you.
it has to be him.
Deeply appreciate your insight into the matter.
Of course, if there's anything else we can do to help, please let us know. It is getting very late. We should go, Leah. I'll escort you home. Leah,
Before you do, could you tell me, what do you think Ivan values most in this world?
they look at each other. Well, what an odd question. I don't think that. I think like a man like that values very much at all. But he has a favorite daughter. I think is it Sissy? And they confer amongst each other. And yes, it's Sissy, the third oldest. Well, and I think he does value his the quality of his work, I suppose. He guarantees everything he sells. So, very few people do that. If anything just stops working and it's clear you didn't mess with it, he'll just fix it. And he asked for a pittance to fix it too, basically just to cover the cost of his materials, because he cares about his craftsmanship, I suppose. But again, he's unnaturally gifted.
Interesting.
As I said, we will include this information with the evidence that we have.
Of course, but good evening, Witchburners. And they leave.
Thank you.
And we are going to say that is the end of the evening watch now.
I knew they were eating up our time.
I mean, you can choose to go.
I know. Thought maybe they'd have some information on some automatons.
We want to rest and go to the mayor's house in the morning and promptly resume.
Yes, I do.
Sounds good.
All right. So you sleep for the evening. And then the 14th day in town dawns. It is very still. There are steel gray clouds. It's very cold and quiet. The air feels a little heavy. And you're awoken by a high-pitched scream coming from out front. And then there are other screams and a various timbre and a lot of exclamations and what the hell, what is happening? Oh my god, it's a plague, it's happening again, it's that damn witch. And
Run
people just like,
outside.
the road is covered in frogs.
Oh.
And they are devouring each other. Like gorging themselves on other frogs until literally their stomachs burst open.
Better eating salamanders.
It's a very gross smell of frog intestines in the air. And it's this gross, cacophonous noise of them croaking. And then you can hear, if you listen closely enough, that their stomachs pop.
I'm trying to hide the fact that I don't think this is awesome. I mean, that I do think this is awesome.
Make a roll. Let's see how well you convince people that you're not totally thrilled by the gross frogs.
Oh, wait, I think, hold on. I have deception, so I can roll too.
Yes, deception would absolutely apply.
Wait, let's see. Which I did not give myself 2 die before. I totally messed up last time I rolled. Let's see. 11.
No, you give me
It's the
whichever
highest.
one is highest.
Oh,
You
right.
Don't add 'em.
I'm sorry. I'm playing this other game.
Yeah.
Where we just
Normally you do add, so.
8.
An 8. So an 8 is a success. Just a clear success. Yeah, you are have definitely convinced everyone except perhaps Robin, who just knows you really well, that you are grossed out and disgusted by this, even though secretly this is super awesome.
Best day of my life.
I just nudge you. I think now is as good a time as any to go present our evidence.
Pull my hood up really far, yank it up. I'm adding this to the list of things caused by power ?
This certainly doesn't feel natural.
Yeah.
The devouring each other part, definitely.
I just nod.
Peppy, if you can catch and kill any of them before they burst their stomachs, they are edible. But
butter.
It's
And
been
lots of butter.
It's a long time since I've had frog legs. I think you're right. And he like motions to like a couple of people like that you've seen kind of like walking about. Maybe they work the inn. And says we got to catch them, put them in a bucket. Put 1 bucket each. Like just bop them on the head. We don't need the heads. He's like giving instructions on how to like grab and kill them very quickly so they don't eat each other. And he starts harvesting frogs and frog legs from the dead frogs.
Yes.
I'm looking out for these people.
Yeah, Gillin is determined to get these people through the winter with an unusual diet, but high in protein.
Oh. Gillin was actually the camp chef as a soldier.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, so y'all, where are you heading? You heading to the mayor, to the town council, and all of that?
Yep.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about how evidence and trials work. So it is a full watch to convince the town council that you have evidence to convict someone of witchcraft. You need a minimum of 2 pieces of evidence before you can convince the council to move to a trial, and that is a minimum. The more evidence you have, the more likely you are to succeed. It takes a full watch. We're not gonna like role play it out, to be honest with you. We're just gonna make a roll and consider the watch done. And then
Okay.
based on the outcome of the roll, then we can roll out what happens. Role play out what happens from there. And just so you're aware as players, and because I feel like this is a reasonable assumption that you would make as characters, the closer the person you're trying to convict is to the council, the harder it is going to be to convince the council they're a witch, which means you would need more evidence.
Okay. Fair
Okay.
enough.
So are we framing this initial meeting as we need more evidence, but we need your permission to do it, kind of, rather
That
than
was my thought.
Yeah.
We've collected a couple pieces of evidence so far, and like to form a more thorough search, find any.
Okay, so you have been kind of given more or less blanket permission to do what you want in the town. But if you were looking to get like more people in the search or someone to, restrain Victoria or something like that, then yeah, would be what you would want to do, is go to the council.
Yeah.
So
We want this to be very public.
okay, excellent. All right, so you guys head to the mayor's house. She has, kind of office there. She does business out of. It's not hard to find her. And she's standing inside, looking down. She's already getting kind of sweaty, even though it's cold. She's like pulling at like the collar of her shirt. She sees you walk in. Witchburners, to what do I owe the pleasure?
Leave may have identified your.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
However, in order to be confident, of course, we do not want to accuse an innocent person.
Of course.
We need your assistance.
Yes, name it. What do you need?
We need to thoroughly search the home without interference. We have collected a few pieces of evidence already, but I'd like to be certain before we continue on.
Right.
I glance at Mateo and Gillin. Are we prepared to present our evidence?
I believe we are.
Yes.
We should gather the council. And messengers sent out. Like Petra's already there because it's kind of what she does. But they pull together the rest of the council. It doesn't take actually too terribly long to get everyone there. And there is the mayor, Edna King's name. There's the town notary, Petra Inksblood. There's the doctor, Ivana Cleanlines, is there. Ursula Cinderdaughter, the innkeeper, is also there as a town councilor, as well as David Slingstrider, who you've seen a few times. And then lastly, there is, sorry, things are numbered differently in 2 different sections of my book here. Hold on. And lastly, there is a woman who you recognize, having only met briefly before, as Lana Staffsend. She is Ivan's wife. and a town councilor and a kind of esteemed businesswoman in the city. And that's the town council, and that you're gathered. And this is all right. Well, we're all present. Who are you? Who's the witch? And they are all just like hanging on themselves to hear.
In our investigations, we found several items that lead us to believe that the witch has not only been plaguing your town for some time, but also attempting to interfere with our. We believe that, again, Victoria, what's
Townsman.
Townsman?
Townsman.
We believe, within reason, Victoria Townsend.
There's a murmur, immediate murmur. It's Victoria. I mean, I know she's strange, but like her. Well, she's a bit, wild. They're like, it's like lots of clamor going back and forth. In general, they are surprised because she is an important person in town. But they are willing to at least entertain that idea because of her reputation.
I will pull the wax figures bag where I've wrapped them in a cloth, and I'll lay them out on a table. And I'll also put the vial of fish scales that I collected from her porch there. And then I will also pull the dolls that were made of us out and put them down.
This is your evidence?
So far,
Says Petra?
yes. We found these wax figures, which have cat hair pressed into them. Notice it is very similar to the cat that was found slain within your town, if
Okay,
not the
so-
exact same cat.
So let's interrupt here
Yeah.
because we're not going to roleplay this out, basically.
No.
In the interest of time, whoever, I assume you're going to choose Robin here because he's talking already, but you can change your mind. You need someone to make a roll.
Yeah.
To convince, and I assume you're all working together, so you can add 1 die
Mhm.
for helping.
1 die for each of them, or 1 die total?
1 die.
Okay.
I'm not going to let you add 3 more dice.
And do I get any bonuses from any of my skills or domains?
Absolutely. It works the same otherwise.
Perfect.
So any domain, skills, whatever you have.
Yes. Quite a few of them. I have an 8.
An 8.
Actually, I have 2 7s and an 8, if you care.
No, I just want your highest. I don't care what the other dice say. So 8 is a clear success. And what is your highest level of stress?
I have 3 to body and 3 to mind.
Okay, good to know. The dolls are, especially the wax dolls, and they feel dubious on the fish scales because they're so rotten that they just kind of have to take your word that they're fish scales. Which they're mostly willing to do, but it wouldn't be enough on its own. But with 3 pieces of evidence, one of which, is kind of creepy and is kind of a double piece of evidence that you found in her home, is enough to convince them that they should help you, that they would authorize and assist in a search of her home.
We ask that she be held so she cannot interfere, as well as none of her employees be allowed to interfere with our search.
They agree to those terms, and they tap the town watch when Krista Changemaker shows up. And we will pick up after a break with everyone convened outside of Westerhouse.
Very quickly,
Alright.
before we go on break, thank you everyone for watching. If you are interested in chatting with any of us or learning more about any of the other games Gehenna Gaming is doing, you can join our Discord. I'll drop a link for it. And if you want to help support us, you can subscribe, but you can also go to our Threadless shop or back us on Patreon, and all of those links will appear magically while we are on break. Thank you very much.
Stretch your legs, get some water. We'll be back in a bit.
Do all those things.
Welcome back, everybody. We are playing Witchburner. We had our morning investigation on the morning of the 14th, and the party has convened the council and convinced them that Victoria Townsman, the storage clerk, the store master in town, is the witch we've all been looking for. And they have agreed to their request, to the party's request, to restrain Victoria and provide support while the party searches her home more deeply. And that's where we're picking up. Guys are in front of Westerhouse. The Krista Changemaker is there with the rest of the town watch. Victoria is angry and just staring daggers at everyone. She looks even more tired than she did the day before. Like deep circles under her eyes and kind of gaunt. And the town guard goes in and starts taking people out of the house. And you see there is Renny and Gillin would recognize Vita. Victoria's clearly her sister. They look so much alike. She's holding a book, a different book than the one she was holding before, looking very confused. And then you see a very kind of tall, elegant-looking man come out, and he is supporting an elderly woman who is wrapped in a very thick, heavy coat with a blanket on top of that, and she is making that dry, rattling cough that you heard before, Mateo and Robin, and looks as though it's probably Victoria's mother. The man doesn't look like anybody. You're not quite sure who he is, and he comes over and he motions to Vita very impatiently, and Vita kind of like tucks her book under her arm and comes over and supports the woman. And then the man just goes straight to the council and just begins to argue very impassionately and with these kind of gestures and direct statements that like he's very good at arguing and making a case. Lawyer. Got to be a lawyer.
Glance
That's
at
the
Renny.
scene in front of you.
Glance at him and glance at Renny. Glance at him. And then I'll turn and start walking into
I just smile.
All right, so do all four of you go into the house?
Yes.
Yes, but first, Gillin will ask the council for someone to provide something to help make the mother more comfortable, because she's clearly unwell, and this is stressful enough as it is without perhaps hot tea or something.
Dr. Cleanline is clearly very appreciative that you are concerned for the health of this woman. She says, "You're quite right." And she, looks at her fellow councilman and says, "We don't really need to be present here for this. We can let the burners look for what they look for and then bring it to us later. I will take care of Leonida." And she comes and she takes the other arm with Vita on the other side of this woman you now know, Leonida Townsman. And they start walking away to where you know Dr. Cleanline's home and office to be. And then you all go in. Now you're all inside the house now? Like I said before, it's actually like a very tastefully kind of understated, decorated house. Lots of antique furniture in the Republican style, the same as the front of the house. So it's clearly like a project that's being put together.
Is there anything that is drastically different than when Robin and I were in here yesterday?
Make a roll for me.
Oh, it's a 2.
Oof. Okay, so
I
two
don't know.
is failure with stress, and you start to look around, trying to decide: is it different? Was that there yesterday? Has the chair been moved? They've swapped painting. It's like you're second guessing every single thing you can think of, to where you just can no longer feel like you can trust your senses, and you're gonna take a stress to your mind.
Okay.
I would like to begin my search upstairs.
All right. You go upstairs. There are 3 different bedrooms up here off a hallway. There's 2 bathrooms.
Start making a study of all of them.
All right. Make a roll for me.
And that is a 9.
Okay, so a 9 is a clear success. And what is your lowest stress, or excuse me, your highest stress again?
3.
Your highest is still a 3. Okay. So as you are digging around in the house, I think you find it in the bedroom. You're digging through, and there's nowhere you aren't looking, I assume.
Everything. And this is like when cops search someone's house. I'm just like pulling drawers out and not putting them back. And
Oh yeah, flipping it. Turn the whole thing over.
Yep.
And you find under the bed, you find a lacquered black box. It is about this long, about this deep, about this tall. Make sure both my hands are in frame here. It is more than a box, not quite a chest. Like it has a mechanism where you could pull a latch around and it's like a pin through an eye,
Mhm.
and you could put a lock there, but there's not a lock. There's just a second pin pushed through.
Okay.
So you don't even have to really try to open it. And there are several things in the box, but the thing that really sticks out to you is a whip with a bone handle,
Hmm.
and the handle is bound in hair. And do you touch it?
To inspect it, yes.
So pick it up. That feels like human hair, like really dried old human hair, but human hair, binding the actual whip to the bone handle. And the handle looks like skin, like not well tanned skin.
I'll put it back in the box. What else is in there?
Uh,
Miscellaneous stuff or
it takes you a second, I think. It's a box of toys,
Mm-hmm.
and the whip is just the most interesting thing in there.
Hmm.
There's blindfold, there's gags, that kind of thing.
I will take the whip out of the box and
Fair enough.
place it on in my bag for now.
Mhm.
I will continue my search.
All right. What are the rest of you doing?
Searching for signs of hidden transactions, or I guess this would actually be two different things I'm searching for. One, searching for any sort of hidden transactions, and 2, hidden for things, searching for things that are show too much devotion to the gods, especially since she's said that she is just sort of a Sunday worshiper, I suppose, or
So
very
when you
casual about the
say
gods.
yes, she definitely believes, but she's not particularly fervent, which is
Mm.
generally the level that most people have. When you say hidden transactions, do you mean looking through her books, her bookkeeping?
Yeah, especially if there's a ledger that is not in a ledger that's not in the main part of the office.
Mm-hmm. So as you dig through, it's pretty easy to pull up ledgers. So, but make a roll to see how well you can dig into them.
8.
Okay, clear success, no stress. As you look through them, like this is all very straightforward bookkeeping. There's nothing weird here. There's nothing, like places, especially like smaller businesses or businesses that only have like a couple people working there or have been running a very long time, develop like weird quirks in their bookkeeping. And it's not indicative that something is wrong. It's more just indicative that like they're not accountants and they don't really know what they're doing. There's nothing like that in Victoria Townsend's bookkeeping. It is easily readable and understandable. Even when there are entries in different hands, they all follow the exact same format. Everything's very, very clear. And you try, like, you start like cross-referencing things and pull in, following a whole trail, and it is just immaculate. She's perfect bookkeeping. Like, you find one or two very small errors here or there where somebody like clearly miscounted and like scratched things out because of human error, but like it is all like very straightforward bookkeeping. Clean as a whistle.
So, no receipts for 10,000 frogs.
No, no receipts for 10,000 frogs, nothing weird or unusual. The contents are often not labeled, but that seems normal from what you can tell because she has talked about the privacy of her clients before. But there's a name, there's a date, there's a, very precise locations that are written. It's not quite code, but like it tells you like a grid basically and where within that grid the box is, like size and dimensions, general weight, that kind of thing. Time when it was picked up, signatures, that kind of thing.
And everyone of the clients listed is actually a person in town.
Everyone recent. You do see like occasional names that you don't recognize haven't been mentioned at all. And a lot of them that are like itinerant merchants kind of thing, like people are just passing through and need to store things until they come back, or because they're setting up shop for just the summer or something. They are tended to be denoted kind of thing. And they tend to be also, you look, if you notice at locations, you get better at reading the location code, that like they tend to be sequestered into their own section away from everybody else kind of thing. So, but as far as you can tell, everything that is currently stored there belongs to somebody who lives here.
Okay.
Can I look for any hidden compartments
Where? Like in the house?
in the house? Yeah. Like I just start in the front room and start moving back. I'm looking along the walls and along the any like furniture that looked like it might have some sort of drawers to it.
Sure, make a roll for me.
Okay, let me see
Here's your
if I have
cat, chat.
anything. Okay, so I don't have anything that's relevant. So let's look.
Okay.
Got a 9.
Clear success. So you start, just kind of like knocking a knuckle around like boards. You look for like carpets that have clearly been moved, that kind of thing. Sorry, she wants to be everywhere. I shouldn't have picked her up. Oh well, this is go lay down in your box. If you have a cat, you should keep a box on your desk, because then that's where they lay. Pro tip. You like clearly have done this before. You have discovered secret compartments in other homes. And by the time you are done going through the house, you are very certain that she doesn't have anything like that here. The closest you can find is that it looks like the part of a closet in one of the upstairs rooms has kind of like a false back to it because a bathroom was expanded into where the closet was. That's the
Okay.
closest you can find to a hidden compartment.
Okay, I want to find, as I'm doing this, I want to find a place to plant what's in my third vial.
Okay.
Which is soot from the hair.
Soot from the hair?
Right? I have that right?
It's the black soot that all the crops were turned from all the crops.
Okay. Some of the like the blight, the rot that was affecting the wheat.
Right.
Okay. Where do you want to leave it?
In that closet, that feels good. Like if she
Okay.
has any shoes in there or something, like.
It appears to be the closet for the for the sister Vita.
Oh,
There's very few clothes in there, and there's just like a stack of books on the floor because there are stacks of books all over her room.
then I want to go to her closet. I want to definitely keep it to Victoria's stuff.
Okay. Well, she clearly has the master bedroom.
Okay.
And you can guess now that the man who you whose name you don't know is probably a husband or fiance.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So I'd
Yeah.
like to plant this on if she has an extra pair of shoes that are hers.
Yeah, I would say there's like a nicer pair of shoes in there. Like she has a pair of work boots that she wears, and then there's like a nice pair of shoes in here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, easy enough to just sprinkle it over top.
Cool.
And what's Mateo doing?
I want to go through her stuff, like really detailed, to see if I can find anything that maybe is hiding in the back of a desk, and maybe get a sense of who she is in her personal life
Mm-hmm.
more than who she is. We know who she is professionally. So, like, what does she do when she's not working?
Okay. Sure.
Well,
I think I found that box.
Make a roll. See
Okay.
if you can find anything that's just her. Nothing
Could I
shared with the
use-
man.
could I use deception if I'm looking for something she's kind of trying to keep private, or nah?
If she's trying to keep it away from people, sure.
Okay. Okay, so I got a 10.
Oh, excellent. So you take a moment and you're standing in the office and you think like Victoria. Think like Victoria. If I had a hobby, if I had a secret hobby, where would I keep it? Well, you wouldn't keep it in the office full of bookkeeping where people are coming in and out every day, you think. And you come through and you start to, as Robin's kind of like, don't look at the black box under the bed. Just like, okay, it's probably not in the bedroom then. And there is a kind of like display china cabinet type thing, like a hutch almost, but much, much smaller in the sitting room. And it mostly just has decorative items on there, including some books. And as you're kind of like browsing the titles, most of them appear to be kind of just some scripture there. There's stuff. And then there's one that says like the owls of the northern continent. And you're just like, this doesn't feel like it belongs here. And you take it down, and when you open it up, it becomes pretty apparent that it was a book, kind of a field study of owls of the northern continent, and the binding was very carefully sliced and replaced with blank paper and sewn back in, so that it has like the first like chapter and a half of owls and the last chapter and a half of owls, and then it's become a like diary on the inside. It's actually very well hidden.
Aha.
And you open it up, and it appears to be a logbook. As you dig through it, there are dates, and it goes back years. And in fact, it's almost full. And it is a log that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense at first. It's a date, then there's entries like the early entries say something like claws and teeth, 4 legs. Got a mouse, I think? Question mark. And as you come through, they become more detailed, and they'll say things like large hawk, older, and nearly caught a rabbit, got away, try again. And it'll say things like just a run this tonight. Flying's nice, but rather kill something.
It's her kill log.
It's a list of animals, most of whom are predator types. And then after that, what was killed, if anything was killed.
I'm gonna flip to the end. See if she escalates.
Nope. It's always just the list of some kind of animal, and then a list of a prey animal that either got away or was caught, or it'll say something like, no hunting tonight, too cold, just running for the joy of it, that kind of thing. And it's very kind of bare. Like there isn't a whole lot of detail beyond that, but it's clear that she's happy when an animal is killed and frustrated when there's not even any kind of hunting, although she does like the running.
I will show it to whoever's downstairs with me. I think Renny, probably.
Yes, I've come back downstairs.
Okay.
Yeah, Gillin would be there too.
Can
What's
both
the
of you tell me what your domains and the other one is? Sorry, I'm like totally blanking.
skills?
Skills.
Is skills, domains, and
Abilities.
abilities? Okay. Yeah, skills and domains. Tell me what your skills and domains are.
I have beasts.
Mm-hmm.
My domains are beasts and war, and my skills are charm, deception, and intimidation.
Okay. And Gillin?
Charm, repair, politics, specializing in the triad, and bureaucracy.
Right. So Renny, I think with your domain of beasts, it kind of niggles at you that like these are all like the animals that are listed are all animals that live in this general area. There's nothing unusual or exotic on the list. They're all like local. It's mostly birds of prey, but sometimes there are smaller animals as well, like foxes, um, feral cats, things of that time. Very occasionally, there's a list of like a wolf. Once there's a bear, and that entry is written with a lot of excitement.
And this is the prey.
Nope,
That's
this is the animal that's listed before the prey.
Oh, I
Because
see, okay.
it's only prey animals that are listed as having been killed or hunted.
got it. Okay.
And that just sticks out to you that these are all like local predator type, mostly predator type animals listed first, followed often but not always by a local prey type animal that was killed or hunted.
Do I understand any more than that?
Nope.
All right. I go call Robin to come downstairs.
What are the entries for the last 2 days where she's been getting progressively more haggard?
There's one dated for this morning for last night, and there's one dated yesterday morning for the night before. And it does coincide with her looking increasingly sleepless.
I will come back downstairs when I hear myself called, carrying the whip. Me.
All right.
Hey, look at this
Cat
book,
knocked my pin off.
Robin.
I will take a look at the book as well. Are beasts and magic, and my skills are study, insight, and stealth.
Okay. Make a roll for me.
What am I rolling?
And I will tell you that obviously study could work here, but so does the domain of beasts, and so does magic.
Okay. Do I need to pick between magic and beasts?
If they are both domains, then yes, you can only get one domain and one skill.
But perhaps you found your specialty.
Maybe I did. I'm going to roll magic. And I think this will apply. My specialty here will apply. But I would like to find out how.
Okay.
So it would make sense this is magic to do with beasts in some form or another.
So just add a die in, and then we'll determine what your specialty is.
I rolled 2 10s and 2 1s.
So a 10 is a clear success.
Yes.
Oh.
Oh,
I rolled a
snaps.
1 to check your stress.
Excellent.
So, what is your highest level of stress right
3.
now, Robin? A 3. And what track is that in?
Body or mind. They're both 3s.
Oh, okay. So, we'll have a little fun with that. Okay.
Perfect.
Good to know. We get some more Fallout.
Excellent.
I gotta let you guys build up some big Fallout at some point. Making it real fun. You take this book out of Rennie's hands as she hands it to you. And Mateo and Gillin are also kind of looking at you, just kind of like equally mystified. And you start flipping through it, and it's very apparent to you very quickly what is going on here.
Mm-hmm.
It's a log of dreams, incredibly vivid dreams, where Victoria is somehow, willingly or unwillingly, it's hard to know with things like this, but she has some kind of touch of magic to her. Whether she knows it or not, whether she's aware of it, whether she's doing this purposefully or not, you can't know right now. But she is casting her spirit when she dreams into predators in the woods and hunting.
I say, well, this is a clear sign of witchcraft. She is either coming or controlling these creatures, or they are her familiars.
This should be enough.
I also found this. It appears to be made of human hide and hair.
Well, it's hard to tell about the skin part of it. It's poorly tanned. It's not really leather. It's closer to skin than leather.
Mm-hmm.
But it does feel like human hair around it, and that is definitely some kind of bone that's kind of been carved down a little bit.
Study it with my domain of beasts and see if it's not a beast.
Yeah, I think you should do that, actually. First...
There blood on the falls?
Yeah, which track am I clearing?
Clear body.
Okay. Now... Okay. So, how does a refresh work?
So, the refresh action is you have to do that action.
Mm-hmm.
And they're purposely written kind of vague, so you can kind of decide when they apply.
Okay.
And generally they take a whole watch to do, unless you could make a really good case for them not. They're not like a quick done kind of thing. You have to spend some time invested into it.
Okay.
And then you roll a d10 and you remove that much total stress.
Okay.
From all of your tracks.
I could be doing it, but I'm going to not to for now. I have a 9.
Okay.
I rolled too many dice.
It is a wolf bone.
Okay.
Wolf bone handle.
I will note that.
So, choose your specialty.
Yes, I'm going to take...
Use spirit casting, do shape changing, bestial magic, make up something along those lines. Skin changing. Okay. She's not quite a skin changer, you think? She probably is not a skin changer, because it's clearly a dream.
Yeah.
That she's having. This is why she's looking so exhausted. And also, come to think of it, it would explain why she has liquor bottles at her bedside table. It's a little weird. But going to bed drunk would prevent the dreams, because you don't get very good rest when you're casting your spirit like that.
True. All right. I think this is all the evidence we need.
I found soot in her bedroom closet too. It looked like it could have come from the fields. I'm not sure, but it feels like we have enough evidence. Do we want to collect it anyhow?
Perhaps we leave it and let others witness. That will be difficult.
Yes. To collect. Yes. Okay.
Do we have the dates when the cat was discovered?
Sure. I'd say you'd have that evidence.
Does it line up an entry?
Yeah, I'll check the book.
No.
Or manifest it so it does.
There is no log for that night.
Can I use Lie Smoothly to create it?
Oh shit.
So Lie Smoothly would be more of talking. I would say you could try to make it apply here, but it is several weeks back now, and there are entries past that. So it would be kind of like squeezing it in.
So
I would say it's a very difficult thing, which mean that when you do it, I'm going to remove a die from your pool.
I put my hand out to stop Mateo. Let's just rip a few pages out.
I don't think
No?
we should. That would show it's
we
been tampered with.
Okay. But it could show that it's been tampered with, and then nobody knows what pages we're missing if it's around that time. Listen, we don't really have to tamper with this evidence. There's plenty. Let's just take it in.
perhaps there's something that she kept from these adventures
It's possible.
other than the log.
I would like to take
Oh, I see.
another look around the house. Then. Actually, Gillin, you looked through her records. Does she
did.
have anything stored in houses?
There are no entries for any of her things you think of now. But you did see on times when there was just a very large surplus of supplies to be stored that she does occasionally make use of her family mausoleum in the cemetery. Nothing is currently logged as stored there. It's true.
I think we should take out. I would like to take another quick look around to see if there are any trophies being stored here, and then maybe we check there.
For like game kills?
Yeah, anything related to game kills.
I would say you guys have searched the house well enough at this point. I'm not gonna make you roll again, but no, there doesn't seem to be any like hunting related trophies or anything like that.
And we should check the mausoleum.
And I'm pretty sure that we've mined the logbook as well as we can, but I'll ask anyways. Do any of the entries line up with when Blaze was held captive?
It would probably take a little while to like pull that out, but like yeah, there are entries that like people were storing things. Things were stored in the warehouse during that time.
Oh, sorry, no, I meant her dream journal.
Oh, the dream journal. He was probably kept in prison for like a month or two in the cage. So yeah, I think you find a few in there.
Nothing
Doesn't seem
like
to be...
a bear claws around at his
Nope, nothing
Okay.
that seems anything like that. None of the entries ever mention anything about being near the town. They're all like out. You kind of
Okay.
feel like in the woods kind of thing. And the bear was more recent, as in about 6 or 8 months ago. It seems like not only is she more aware of what she's doing over the years, because this does go back years, kind of thing. And she also becomes a little more intentional, is also more aware of what type of animal. Like sometimes she can say very specifically this type of hawk, like this old, this was a male hawk, this was a female hawk, that kind of thing. And like she's more aware of the bodies of the animals that she's like projecting her spirit into. So she seems to be getting better at it. So nothing like a bear happened way back. And
So
years ago with Blaze, like she was not like really knowing very many details at that point.
Okay.
So I know Robin had suggested we go to the mausoleum. Do you all think we need to? Or do you think we have sufficient evidence here now?
I think if she has an angry lawyer living with her,
more evidence
not
cannot
as
hurt.
much.
Okay.
She is well liked. Well, not well liked. She has a lot of power in this town.
She's also well respected. Even people who don't really like her or find her like company very uneasy have nothing but respect and admiration for her abilities as a store master.
Okay. Well, let's see the
Especially since we have a businesswoman on the town council. I think she's going to be the hardest person to convince.
But the businesswoman on the town council has been heavily accused. On that note, to the mausoleum.
Da-da-da-da-da.
All right. So that is the full afternoon's watch. Absolutely. I think the council's outside, kind of like waiting expectantly when you come out. Where did you find evidence?
We did indeed.
We did.
We have reason to
And?
suspect there may be, and we want to be thorough as possible.
All right.
We need
Should we make arrangements for her family to spend the night somewhere else?
Yes.
All right.
Also, if one of you would like to go observe, we left some evidence undisturbed. Make it less viable. Renny?
Yes, in her closet. Her shoes have soot on them that look like they're from.
Props.
Yes.
So they come with their Ursula, who you know to also be a member of the lodge because she, has a business in town. It looks like less convinced than the others when they come back. Said, could just be dirt.
I inspected the props. Very same.
Definitely is the same.
We will present the rest of our evidence after we investigation. Let's go to the cemetery now.
They all look and say, all right. And then they begin to like shuffle off the family to go somewhere else. They start talking to the clerks. They're handling business, that kind of thing. Nobody wants the business of storage in the warehouses to be interrupted while Victoria's being investigated. All right. So you can head out to the mausoleum in town. Along the way, Robin, your throat is really dry and scratchy. And you've got, a canteen of water with you, but no matter how much water you drink, it just seems to still be dry and itchy and hurt. And you kind of have to suppress some coughs from time to time. Okay. So you make your way over toward the cemetery. And in there, you pass by, again, you go down that like lane right next to the cemetery, and there's just, a group of older men and women, kind of elderly, just sitting there underneath a big linden tree, chattering amongst themselves and talking. And again, they fall completely silent, and all of them stare at you as you walk down. Do any of you engage at all with any of them?
Just nod.
They all nod back
Lightly.
at you. Go into them. All right.
Triad be praised, gentlefolk.
Indeed, yes, thank you. And they begin it's like a Greek chorus the way they talk to you, just running over each other again and again. They greet you. They invoke the names of not just the major triad, but many other minor deities, and invoke blessings upon you. And they wish you well and offer any help that they can give. Come and talk to us anytime. Anytime. We hear everything.
Deeply appreciate that.
Hmm.
We may just take you up on it.
We look forward to it. We look forward to talking to such fine young folk as yourselves. Upstanding citizens all. Okay. Do you continue into the cemetery, or do you stay and talk to the wise wives and wise beards?
Renny is on a mission. She's not
All
about
right.
to let anybody else waste any more of her time. So she is just charging forward through the cemetery, not really waiting for anyone else.
All right. The rest of you follow?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So you make your way
Gillen's
into
just speaking the good word for a moment.
All right, so you head in, and it's not terribly difficult to find the like kind of mausoleum for her family. It is not super difficult either to get the door open, and it is kind of what you'd expect. It's cold. It smells kind of musty. Air doesn't move much in here. There's some like leaves and dirt, kind of not a lot, just as in it's been a little bit since anyone was in here to clean up, kind of thing. There's no offerings or incense lit. Like the torches haven't been lit in a little bit. No one's visited in several weeks to a few months,
Hmm.
but has visited within the past year.
Nothing unusual stored.
Make a roll. And is anyone helping you?
I'll help.
All right.
Yeah.
So whoever, so you can add 1 die if one of them has a relevant skill or domain.
Oh. I don't.
Any kind of study, searching, deception.
I have deception, and I have a rather morbid thought. What do you do in burial grounds? I wonder if she buried something.
So inside is like a stone mausoleum. So there's nowhere for her to like bury anything here.
It could be in.
Like the various like cubbies in the wall are like sealed shut or they're open.
Do any of them look like maybe they've been opened? Could be opened?
We can make that part of the roll. For sure.
Okay.
An 8. All right. God, I want you to fail more rolls, Ian. Get you some different dice.
I'm rolling like 4 dice every single roll.
So Mateo and Robin start investigating like the cubbies, kind of like poking your fingers in them, and it's stonework, it's mason work, and they're all very solid. And the most recent death was probably 3 or 4 years ago, and it coincided with kind of a spread of what they call the silent plague, kind of going through about half the country. And there were deaths here in the bridge, just like there was deaths everywhere. And there is like one like elderly, like maybe an uncle, you think, grandfather. It's kind of hard to tell by the dates. But that's the most recent death in here, and all the cubbies are very solidly like mason worked closed. And you, after a little bit of digging, you find a box kind of like put into a cubby, like not very very high, but just like you have to reach up a little bit to get it. And you pull that out, and it's just extra supplies that would make sense to be here. Like there's like a broom and dustpan, like a handheld broom and dustpan. There's some like tinder and some like like a not a lighter because you wouldn't want to keep something that nice in a mausoleum, but like a like flint and steel to like spin some matches to like strike the light the torches and incense and whatever, some extra incense, that kind of thing. Nothing unusual though.
Well, it doesn't seem like you would maybe want to do dark arts around your fallen ancestors. Those might be eyes that you might not want watching you.
That's true. All right. I think we're good to present our evidence then.
Where are you going?
Like to see if any of the cubbies appear to have been sealed after the sealed recently, but not like recorded as such.
So all of them have plaques on them with names and then birth and death dates and other inscriptions on them. Um, and the most recent one is the plague victim that I mentioned. Nothing has a more recent date on it. And from the search that you did, it doesn't appear that anything was like reopened.
Okay.
Are you done in the mausoleum?
I want to steal some flowers off of a grave outside and put them inside the mausoleum, please.
Okay. Do you want to keep this hidden from the wise wives and wise beards?
Yeah.
All right, then it's easy enough to just snag some flowers off of a grave. Do you do it random? Do you look for anybody in particular? Any names?
No, just look for the freshest ones.
All right. I think you find them on Leah Takewood's father's grave.
I whisper an apology to him, and then I bring it into the mausoleum and leave it.
All right.
So,
Leave the flowers easily enough.
how do we go find the council?
To the mayor's house, I suppose.
Let's do it.
All right, as you head back out, I think that Gillin, you smell it first, because I think maybe you're a little hyper vigilant for that smell, and I think Mateo, for similar reasons, smells it not long after. There's the scent of a big fire in the air, a large fire blazing, and I think the two of you start looking around for the source of the fire. Robin and Renny, you notice after a moment, and you look over, and there is smoke rising up in the town, and there's a giant blaze happening, and you can hear people yelling and running, and it's over in the direction of where the inn is.
Kept
If
all of the
that's-
evidence on us, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you haven't been back to the inn.
That's not good.
Head over that way.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
with some haste, I might imagine.
Yes.
Yeah, we like them.
And as you get closer and closer, you're relieved to see that it is not the inn itself that is on fire. As you get closer, there's a building out a little bit beyond the kind of the edge of the inn yard. Like it looks like a chicken yard in the back where the outhouse is and so on. There's a building a little bit out past that, like a shed almost, and that's where the fire is originating from. And it is a huge fire for how like small that building is. And you see Peppy is just like on his knees in the middle of the chicken yard, just like sobbing. And there is a man standing over him that you think you can assume that this is his husband that he's mentioned before. And who's trying to console him. And there's a daughter, a young daughter there, as well, like clinging onto Peppy's husband's arm. And there's staff from the inn is just kind of standing around. There is like an attempt at a bucket brigade, but no one's really willing to get that close to the fire, and there isn't anything close enough. So what people are doing is they're digging trenches, like shovels, trying to make like a fire break to keep the fire from spreading, and they're just gonna let it burn out, it looks like.
I will walk over to where.
And he doesn't even notice you. He's just like heavily sobbing.
Yeah, I just kneel next to Peppy and start a prayer litany. Doesn't matter if anyone else is joining in. It's just
It takes him a few minutes, but when he hears you and he starts to like between the like sobs like join you in that. And I think after a few minutes, no, I've forgotten her name. I'm sorry. What's Ursula's wife's name?
Anya?
Yeah,
Anya?
I think you're right.
Anya. Okay, yeah, Anya comes over and just kind of like explains to you. Says it's the distillery. It's where Peppy distills the spirits. It's kind of
Shame.
this. Yeah. It's
Volatile business, though.
yes. It's why Ursula made him put it so far back from the end. We all thought she was kind of being overly cautious, but I'm sure glad about it now. It's his life's work. It's what he's passionate about. That's what he made the sacrifices to the gods for, was to make the best spirits anyone's ever had. Yeah. We'll all sit and watch the distillery go up in flames.
Is there any evidence around, any sort of clues as to foul play or someone strange having been
The
around?
fire is going very strong and is likely to go very strong through the night.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of alcohol, very flammable.
Yep.
So would not recommend generally getting very close, but if you kind of want to like look around and see if you could find tracks anywhere,
Yeah.
you could try. There have been people running back and forth. There's, people are digging trenches.
Yeah, there's no point. Let's go to the mayor's. I suggest to the group.
So it is now the end of evening watch and it is fully into night.
I think it's worth staying up.
All right.
What do you all think?
I agree.
If we didn't stay up for this, I was going to stay up helping them with the trenches. So
Indeed.
Well, it's up to you, Mateo, if you want to wait until the morning.
no, I think this is it's a good use. The town is distracted. People are scared. They're ready to hear what we have to say.
Agreed.
Yes.
Right. And that is where we're going to break for the evening. And we'll pick up again next Thursday with the
No, we
party
won't.
going.
No.
Oh wait, what's next Thursday?
Christmas Eve.
Oh, right, yeah, we're not playing on Christmas Eve. So we're gonna be taking a bit of a longer break then.
Yeah, because in 2 weeks it's New Year's Eve, right?
Hold on, I have a question. How much longer do we have for this game?
I mean, that's pretty much up to you guys at this point. You could easily wrap this up in one session, bringing in evidence forward, having a trial, convincing them. That could happen all in one session very easily.
One session or like the next half hour?
Longer than a half hour. Okay. Pretty confident on that. Because you're gonna have to convince them with the various pieces of evidence, and there's like politicking about who believes what evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mhm.
because we're breaking for 2 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
so I just want everyone to be aware of that.
I mean, we could likely wrap it up in an hour if you guys want to keep going for an hour, but I don't think we could really do it in a half hour.
Quick vote.
I'm good either way.
All right. We'll reconvene then. Maybe we can switch evenings. People are
Yeah, I was
available.
gonna suggest that. So
Excellent. Then
open
we
to-
will be back soon.
yeah, TBD. We'll let you know. Check the Twitters. And you can join our Discord as well. You can join the Gehenna Gaming Discord. I'm sure we will post updates there as well. So thank you for staying tuned through our little discussion there. But the party has decided who they are going to bring to trial, or at least attempt to bring to trial as a witch. And it's Victoria Townsman, the town Stormmaster. So we'll pick up on our next session with that. So let the people know where they can find each of you. So we'll go the same order, I guess, as last time. Ian?
End on me. So I can do
Well,
the schedule
I
and
have to
stuff.
go after you, so
Oh, yeah.
yes.
You
All
can
right,
find me
fine.
here.
Yeah. You heard Ian before. You can find him here. He's Ravnos on the Twitters. Kristina.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at D20xtina, and I'm going to try and be more active in the Discord as well. So you can find me there too. And yeah. I'm on
have
Off
a
the
game
Table.
next Wednesday.
I do. I'm on Off the Table every other Wednesday, playing Glitter Hearts, a magical girl RPG. So that's where you can find me there.
It's gonna be like a Christmas themed episode, isn't it? You guys are gonna give each other presents. I'm really
It
excited.
is.
It's gonna be cute.
It's gonna be
That's
really cute.
Adorable.
It's so wholesome, y'all. I'm playing this like 19-year-old jock who like lost all her friends and now she has new friends and she's like, what is this? I love friends. So yeah, like someone's dad lives in town, so we're gonna go over and like, have a really awkward dad party. It's gonna be great.
So
Sounds
excited.
amazing.
Miellyn, where can people find you?
Oh, hi. Yeah, everybody can find me on Twitter at MiellynB. And literally everything I'm working on right now is under NDA. So just, one day I'm going to have all sorts of cool stuff to talk about. But right now it's just like,
Yeah, that's a boon. All right, and Hiromi.
You can find me over on Twitter at Hiromi Cota. I have an Amazon author page that's full of queer genre fiction with 2 more books coming out anytime now because they're past due. So I don't know. Print's weird. I also wrote for Onyx Path for Dead Man's Rust, which is currently doing a Kickstarter. It's, oh wow, $19 short of $21,000. So if you have $19, you can just
Quick, somebody go
do the
donate.
thing. Like
Do the thing.
that's
Sign up.
that's awesome.
real far. It's an amazing sort of mega adventure. It's basically it's for D&D 5 Ed. It will take you from levels 1 to 10 with the main plot, and then as far as you want to go with all of the side plots. It's creepy, it's metal, it's really fucking queer. I was not the only trans author on it, so like
Those
That's
are all
awesome.
hella
magic
fucking
words, though. I
queer.
really like it. Definitely. Maybe I'll pitch that $19 then.
Good game.
Yeah.
Too.
Excellent. And again, my name is Stephanie Allen. I'm one half of Charm Person Games. We are a queer women-owned professional game master for hire service based out of Baltimore, and we are having a sale for the holidays.
Oh.
Right now, if you book with us anytime between now and January 1st, so you don't have to have your session during that time, just place your booking with us and pay your deposit, we will give you $50 off of any adventure for any game on the website.
That's
So
fun.
yeah, I'll run Witchburner for you. We run Monster Hearts. We run D&D. We run Vampire the Masquerade. We run all the big names. We run most of the smaller names. And if there's something you want to play that we don't have listed, we will learn it and run it for you. So charmpersongames.com.
Excellent.
Nice.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. Hold on, my cat is attached to me. Ow.
So we've got
Thank you.
all 3 cats now. Yay!
Yes.
All 3 cats in one night.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. We have a lot of cool stuff coming up. This Saturday, our Saturday Night One Shot is a Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition Second Inquisition focused game, which we are doing as part of, in adjacent to, I should say, Family Holiday Weekend, which the World of Darkness channel is hosting. Myself, I will actually be playing over on that channel in 2 different one-shots. Earlier in the day on Saturday, I will be in a Victorian-era vampire game, and then in the evening, I will be playing in a one-shot for Atlanta by Night, ATL by Night. So check those out. Those are going to be really cool. Those will be over on the World of Darkness channel. Or watch ours here, which is going to be equally awesome. Sunday, we have... What weekend is it? Forbidden Lands. Next Monday, we will have our wonderful Gehenna Valley Monster Hearts 2 game, which
You
Stephanie
can see
is
me
in.
as a player in that one.
Yes.
And my business partner, Natalie.
Tuesday, we will have a fireside chat, which I will be on, and then I believe we have Kult on Wednesday, and then we are off Thursday and Friday for the holidays, so I hope everyone has a great long weekend, because we get that one even if we don't celebrate Christmas, but that's okay. And then the following week we circle right back around on everything once again. So subscribe if you can and help support the channel. Follow all these wonderful people, and we will see you soon.
Soon. Maybe we'll burn a witch.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night, everybody.